we all know if you include, out of the people that stay together, if you include sexless marriages, if you include wives that got obscenely fat, if you include bitchy wives, we know it's more than 50%.
The figure that people like this normally use is 50%. And the claim that 50% of marriages end in divorce is already spurious, and we'll have more on that in a moment. But
yeah, because you didn't think through it, because your stupid writers do everything for you.
75%? I was wondering where that number came from, so I scrolled down and I saw something that she reposted from an alleged lawyer who said this, quote, "It's not 50-50. That only accounts for divorces. Another 25% on the negative side for miserable men trapped in cheaper to keep her marriages, unwilling to risk financial destruction and loss of their children. 75% chance of a devastatingly bad outcome is just a bad plan. No sane person would enter into a commercial contract on such terms." Now, I did ask him where he got this 75% figure from.
And the worst part is they have such big egos. Like, it's just turned into this Jesus rock star like bullshit. They just use the religion to get as much attention and clout as possible. Guys, I have a whole video breaking down the actual divorce rates. It's called How Conservatives Are Lying to You About Marriage. If you want to see it, go there.
And he wouldn't say. Apparently, the magic statistic fairy came and whispered it in his ear.
And that's a liberal tactic, right? He's going into it in bad faith, where he's saying, "Oh, you're just lying. You're just making this stuff up." Well, if that's what you think, why would we even have a discussion? All the men getting divorced, Matt, really? The whole red pill is just making this up. Really?
Here. Now, for her part, Pearl later tweeted a picture of Pierce Brosnan with his wife of 20 years, and she questioned whether the marriage counts as successful since Brosnan's wife has put on some weight at the age of 60. So apparently, even...
Yeah, and now he's going to white knight. Now he's going to white knight. Yes, ladies, get fat. Do it. Gain a bunch of weight. Men love that.
If they're happy and have remained married for 2 decades...
How do you know they're happy?
They still might fall into that 75% failure rate because they have not both remained in supermodel condition into their 60s. This debate on social media brought out the rest of the marriage skeptical crowd on the right. A bunch of these red pill influencers decided to hop on an emergency Zoom call and spend 2 hours talking about me and the rest of the Daily Wire crew and our reckless promotion of society's most fundamental institution. Now, there's one clip here that you should see. This is apparently a divorce lawyer who says that the failure rate for marriage is not 50% and it's not 75%. It is, in fact, even higher. Listen.
I think marriage can be successful, of course. It's just not something that's as scalable as we as a society are trying to pretend it is. Marriage is, and I've said this 100 times and I'll say it 100 more, marriage is like the lottery. You are probably not going to win. Okay, you're probably not going to win. Don't make that your 401k. You're probably not going to win. But if you win, what you win.
Okay, and that's the ego. And this is what I really cannot stand about traditional conservatives. They are just not pragmatic at all. Every conservative thinks they are above the numbers. They all think they won't be statistics. If everyone else is getting 30-year-old women that are giving them 1, maybe 2 children, what do you think your wife is most likely going to be? Most people are going to be single parents. If most people are getting divorced and not staying together, what do you think your future is probably going to be? And there's this cope, I'll be different. I'll be special. Why do you have such a big ego to think that you're different or special? Seriously. Why? Why would you not have the same results as everyone else? Yeah, here we go.
Is so great that I don't blame you for buying a ticket and trying. I personally don't buy lottery tickets. But when somebody says, yeah, I played the lottery, hey man, somebody's got to win. And you know what? As long as you're not blowing money that you need for food or to put shoes on your kids' feet, you're not hurting anybody. Go out, give it a try. So I always tell people, listen, marriage, when it works, when you have somebody who's married 20 plus years and they're still crazy about each other, that is the exception, not the rule. But when you do it, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So why not buy the ticket, take the ride, but have a prenup? Wear a seatbelt, guys. You can be a safe driver, but wear a seatbelt.
So a happy marriage, he says, is like winning the lottery. And the thing about the lottery is that almost everybody loses. This is a perfect summation of how this entire club views marriage and the message that they're sending to young men in particular. Sure, it can be great, they concede, but only if you're insanely lucky. Everybody else is screwed. This is a rather bleak view of marriage, and thankfully, it's also nonsense. First of all, the claim that marriage isn't scalable is obviously ridiculous because marriage has served as the bedrock of human society since time immemorial.
Yeah, and as soon as people got the option to opt out, they did. You know, again, I don't really care what people say. And again, that's the issue you get with traditional conservatives. A lot of times they go off of what the woman says. I go off of what people do. Again, if it was that great, why did everybody opt out the first second they got? Seriously. Seriously, that's my question. Why?
It has already happened at the scale of civilization for thousands of years. Now, the divorce lawyers come along and say that, you know, this thing that society's been doing forever, turns out it doesn't work.
So the next way conservatives manipulate you, okay, is Ellie, is they use history as a way to paint what's not going to happen in your lifetime. So what they'll do is they'll say, well, this movement's going to happen because at this time in history it worked. Well, you know, it's like, hold on, she's got to go. She's got to go. So what they'll do is they'll say, oh, well, 100 years ago, you know, we propagated women back. And I'm like, well, let's look outside. You know, it's like, imagine if you're going to make a decision as a business, because really, in a way, you should kind of look at your time, your resources, your energy as a business. You only have so much of it. So if you came to a business owner, right, and you said, all right, make this decision. You know, the business owner would say, okay, well, has anyone else made this decision? How did it go for them? They're like, well, half of them, it didn't work out, and a quarter are sexless and fat. 25% chance of it working. And then if you take the risk, you know, well, it's probably not going to work. And business owners take risks all the time where they know they're not going to make their money back, but they know. Right? But imagine if that person went to the business owner and said, well, 100 years ago, this worked. And the business owner would say, okay, does that work today? And the business owner and the investor said, well, no, but, you know, I swear 100 years ago, the business owner would say, well, I don't care. And, you know, I'm not saying that history doesn't repeat itself. But we cannot predict how the future is going to go. You never can. So it takes a big ego to believe you can really predict how the next 100 years are going to go. I don't know. I can't say. Based on what I see now, I could tell you what I think may happen, but who knows? But they'll say, well, 100 years ago this worked. Well, Matt, today it's not working. So now what?
Unless you're the one in a million. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous claim. Now, what about the failure rate of marriages in our culture? We've heard 50%, we've heard 75%. We just heard that they fail at a rate similar to the rate that people lose the lottery, which would mean higher than 99%, a lot higher. Yet these kinds of astronomical odds are not based in anything but the doom and gloom speculations of the people inventing them.